So I have been working as a professional poet and artist for the last 13 years. I got started because I was a writer who wasn't writing. And so I set myself to the task of writing for 3 minutes a day on the typewriter so I wouldn't be distracted by the internet and a blinking cursor. Um, and I got a typewriter because I love the beat poets, and I was reading Kerouac's On the Road, the scroll edition at the time. And I had just moved to San Francisco, and it seemed a little bit kismet. So I sort of did it on a whim and never expected it to become my profession. And these little poems were coming out, and the person I was dating at the time said, there are people in New York and Paris and even Berkeley who sell poems. And, I was like, that's insane. Nobody sells poetry. But I decided to give it a try. One thing led to another, and it's my full-time job. And it's also how I've met really amazing people like you and also been able to come into really incredible opportunities. Right now, I'm not working on much except taking a sabbatical and a very deep rest. I've written something like 75 to 100,000 poems in the last 13 years, which means that I have talked to that many people and engaged with that many people's imaginations, heartbreaks, happinesses. And as a poet, you can imagine I'm a very sensitive person. And so I'm kind of taking this time to get into some deep rest. I think about it as a field that's producing a crop, and you have to let the field go fallow. Otherwise, it's going to stop yielding. So it's been oddly challenging to allow myself to really take a break. But it's also been deeply rewarding. And it's allowed me to have time. I mean, the pandemic also, but let's not get into that. To say yes to things like doing this audiobook narration. When you asked me, I was so excited because it's actually been like a long dream of mine. And I had said like the week before, what I really want to do is voice acting and narration. And then, you emailed me or texted me or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is like the universe is listening, and you came along. So yeah, I was super excited. Well, I think we both learned that two people in a tiny apartment doing very focused work on a finicky microphone um, in the heat of San Jose comes with its inherent challenges and hilarity. I really appreciate your patience for all of my constant weird brain flubbing of difficult to pronounce words. Illyrium, Bard Apfili. um, and
Silligan.
yes,
That was the winner. That was the winner. That for
I
some.
wasn't going to try. I wasn't going to try. Um, and yeah, I mean, this is like a weird thing that I feel like I didn't know until I started doing it, which you and I talked about this in the process of that. I've done some acting before, I've done readings before as a poet, and this was just a combination of both of those things. And the amount of focus that it required to just read, off of the page and be considering like, what point in the novel are we at here? What is this character trying to convey? And even I had this constant anxiety that my voice didn't sound the same from one session to another, or even from one break to another, which was weird. And I think contributed to me like sweating profusely most of the time. And also that there was just this like a very different level of attention. That was really, I think, as someone, thank you for giving me this first opportunity to get into this work, that I will like forever remember, like, when you're doing something new and you just have that learning point, it was like very necessary, just very necessary learning. So Joshua asked me to pick a couple of poems that had to do with resilience, which is a big theme in the book. And so this first poem I picked out, it's a very recent one, written a lot with the sort of weight of the pandemic in mind. Um, I just think it's like if I could read something to the main character, I might read her this. It's called When You Don't Know What to Do with Your Pain. When you don't know what to do with your pain, do not try to cut out your belly button thinking the womb is where the wound began, because you can trace pain back to its very beginning, but you'll discover it's not as useful as following pain to its very end. No matter what you are feeling, how many pieces your hurt is in, how many winces blind your eyes, how many years or legacies weight your shoulders, tire your arms, exhaust your body as it tries to walk in any direction. The end of pain lives somewhere between your mind and your heart, meeting the clarity of breath as it says, and now, and now, and now. The second poem I'm going to read, I chose because there's also a lot in the novel about family connection and about heritage and history as it's connected to place. There's also, as Joshua's been mentioning, like a very musical, lyrical quality to some of the sections that are in a bit of like reverie, remembrance. And so this, and as well as constant themes about pain and survival. I think this poem kind of touches a little bit on all of those things, but in like, the book of my life, not this book. It's called I Was Born Among Mango Seeds. I was born among mango seeds, sucked clean by my mother's history. I was overlooked, made voice of wind. I have made poems of rain, sought shelter in cloud shapes, sleeping on cold water. Yes, despite the tide, the undertow, I walk in. I bury myself among brothers and sisters who have never been daughters or sons. In a dream, I know the word love, taste it like raspberries in summer picked by my own scratched hands. When winter comes, I am friend of the raven a friend of me. Our families called an unkindness, a murder, words we dare not speak. Somewhere, a mother osprey steals food from the mouths of her young. I have never hungered for the future, waiting for the past to pass. Once I heard a doctor say, most people who jump off bridges die because their hearts explode. And so, God is the heart of our hope, death is the God of our days. And when I wake with whale songs instead of thoughts, I know I'll be okay.